At 22 minutes past the hour, we say welcome back to our, pardon? Yes, that too. Listeners, welcome back to Voices. My name is Socrates, host of today's program. And we had a rather interesting morning, the first half, great discussion. We heard from Sister Henry, we heard from Journey, we heard from Africa, and the debate centered around, the development of Africa. We spoke about Mayor Muttley's contribution, not the COP, and various things. Climate change, one of the issues that affects the world, but even more so, to bring it closer to home, what's happening with the coastal erosion, global warming, etc., here in the Caribbean. And so I mentioned there was a contribution made by our delegation at that very forum, and I was reading part of it. So let's see now if I may continue. The Financial Times PWM magazine ranks St. Kitts and Nevis first in 14 jurisdictions worldwide. The Financial Times PWM magazine ranks St. Kitts and Nevis first in 14 jurisdictions worldwide for its CBI program. That's unrelated, but the island pioneered the concept back in 1984. That's not what it was looking for. Sorry about that. Okay. Let me go back a bit. Yeah. News provided by CS Global Partners, November 1st, 2021. As a region most vulnerable to climate disaster, the Caribbean is prioritizing climate resilience. The Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, in particular, is making strides. Recently, the country submitted an ambitious national climate plan to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, UNFCCC, to decrease economic-wide CO2 emissions by 61% by switching to 100% renewable energy. The government, through Minister of Environment, Honorable Eric Eveling, officially submitted the document known as National Determined Contribution, NDC, at COP26 on November 2nd. The strategy highlights the financing and implementation approach focused on mobilizing support for its climate goals and positions the islands as a more eco-friendly destination that's committed to the environment. The NDC will also help build a more robust tourism offering for St. Kitts and Nevis. A 2021 report from Booking.com states that 61% of travelers think sustainable travel is vital, and 46% says the pandemic has made them want to travel more sustainable, in the future. The phrasing was wrong. Sustainable tourism is an important part of our economy. St. Kitts and Nevis Climate Action Plan will cater to a growing sustainable travel trend while aiming to reduce its environmental footprint, said Prime Minister Timothy Harris. This revised and strengthened NDC pledges a significantly more ambitious mitigation target of reducing economy-wide CO2 emissions by 61% by 2030, compared to the base year of 2010. conditionally upon adequate access to resources, including climate finance as well as capacity building support. This will be achieved by switching to 100% renewable energy in electricity generation and increase in the share of electric vehicles in the vehicle fleet of at least 2%, the report said. So, once again, the conversation continues. The petitions on behalf of small island states, the pledges to reduce our global footprint in terms of pollution and things that hurt the environment and health in general. So we're happy to be part of that conversation, able to make a contribution and demand on behalf of our people in the region. It was on Monday I spoke to a situation developing in Senegal where the fishermen there would have lost their livelihood. They've thrived on a fishing industry for decades. All that was taken away from them because of global warming. We go to the phone lines for this caller. Caller, you're live on Voices. Welcome to the program.
I think I'm back. I was Dwayne at the
Good afternoon, sir. How about thou?
Also, Monday you spoke about Antigua and Barbuda and another state or nation.
Yes.
I think it's a small island state or nation somewhere in the Pacific that's jointly submitting something, right?
That is correct.
Huh?
That is correct. That's true.
Right. But it's where these things go because for quite a while now we have been doing that. There was a case put somewhere in the Caribbean. I don't know which one of the CARICOM members, it might have been Guyana, that really put forth a case to those people in terms of the ozone, the green, what it was, the greenhouse gases. That our case was like, okay, we don't admit that proportionate because we're not an industrialized country or we're not an industrialized region, so to speak.
Correct.
But we observe, right? So therefore, you owe us in terms of we observing your emissions. And this is the case. We request this amount of money so that once we get the money dispersed, we can mitigate even further, things that are affecting us in terms of the greenhouse emission. You remember that?
Yes.
It went nowhere. We called Antigua and Barbuda, even one, I'm kind of diverting a little bit, with a gambling matter with the United States.
Yes, that was about, 10, 12 years ago? I don't think so.
Has that been resolved?
I have no idea. We haven't heard anything about that for some time.
Oh, yes. What we're talking about, all of these things sound nice and fancy and dandy on paper. But when you're coming up against these guys, these G guys, you know what I mean?
You call them G guys?
Yeah, the G guys.
The global leaders on the summit, yeah.
And it's like, who is these guys here to be telling us this? They don't know who we are. We are the biggest gangsters in town. So therefore, it's the unification. The unification. Because they're not studying us enough in terms of we putting the... They're good initiatives. They're good initiatives going to UN. But then they're not going to reach nowhere. They're not going to get the legs to reach anywhere. Because you know what? We are so fragmented. If we were to be unified, you will see the difference. But I'm afraid that is far-fetched of our unification. So,
go ahead.
All of these initiatives are sounding good. Even there with the program there that we have, St. Kitts and Nevis.
Yeah.
It sounds good because we're number one. We're supposed to pat ourselves on the shoulders. But also that is also a different indicator if you ought to see it with the 2020 spectacles. It sounds good. St. Kitts and Nevis is number one. Number one in just that alone, in a number, or number one in losing our value. We have brilliant sunlight. What is for us to benefit? What are the percentages? 60-40? What is the benefit from our brilliant sunlight we're going to go? Yes, it's supposed to benefit us. Yes, we do have vehicles on the road, the pollution and all of it, the O2. Yes, but what is the benefit of 60%, 40% arrangement with the foreign investors?
Let me answer a question. You said that we don't really pollute because we're not an industrial nation, right?
Not pollute.
Do you
To
recall
the extent,
some years ago?
that it affects,
Do you
we
recall?
do pollute in certain small farms.
Do you recall some years ago that we, who were importing vehicles from, say, St. Martin, from Japan, etc., were hit with a $5,000 environmental levy?
Yes.
Do you know that also on brand new vehicles, $1,000 was put on as part of the environmental levy? You buy a brand new vehicle from Tennessee or whomever, you have to pay an extra $1,000 for an environmental levy. For those that we used to call Japanese cars, we were hit with a $5,000 on it. So if the car costs you, say, $3,000, you had to pay when it landed here $5,000 extra to the government as an environmental levy.
Remember they used to call them reconditioned vehicles?
Yeah, because they were saying that at a certain age, the emission would affect so the government, we're talking about the former administration, Desmond Douglas, hit us with a $5,000 levy. And then, on brand new vehicles, a lot of folks don't know this, you had to pay $1,000. You just bought it brand new. It hasn't even left the parking lot as yet. So where did that money go to? If we don't emit, we don't put out, we don't burn coals, we don't have fossil fuels to add to the pollution. Could it be that because we consume so much plastic, and the government have to, but we don't have how do we deal with the plastic? Nobody can get rid of plastic. So where did that money go to? What was the reason for it?
Good question. I just want to retract what I said earlier. Not that we don't pollute, but on the industrial scale, that it would affect
at that level.
us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want to get the notion that it doesn't pollute. We do emit O2 in terms of our vehicles, but the scale of it does not really impact us.
So, correct.
As the industrialized nations.
So that money that they were collecting as an environmental levy, were there programs where you will go to the coastal region and help to put barriers or whatever in place, etc.? Was that money used for that purpose? Did we have an agency that dealt with that specifically? Huh?
I said persons are listening in the know-how in those areas.
So maybe they can call with an answer?
Give an answer.
Okay.
In that area. But yes. So the case with Antigua and Barbuda and that other nation, and other cases that we are putting forward, it's all good. But what? I'm talking about the ignorance in terms of it. They're being ignored. They're being scoffed at. They're being looked at like their audacity. Dare you? How dare you present it? Do you know who I am? That's the type of attitude that we're not going to get it until we're unified. Or else we're left to the mercy of, but the earth is on our side. Yes? The earth is on our side. So even though the earth has been faced with all of this, the earth is only going to reject those who violate it. The earth knows. The earth is the most massive computer-based computer in terms of logging all of the memories of the the earth can actually tell you, the king, what your mother gave you after the lactation, your suckling, the very first compact. The earth will tell you if it was compact or some cereal or whatsoever.
All right.
The earth has that record there. Okay?
That's great.
The earth knows who to reject and who not to reject. The earth is not going to reject us. Once we go to the earth is going to be kind to us. It will reject those who are violating it. Thanks for this.
Appreciate that. Now, prior to the midday newscast, I made reference to the mindset that still affects us. So when we say that we are I was speaking about women specifically, proud black women, etc., etc., etc. But we have to buy weave and eyelashes and extension to come to the public. We go to the phone lines. We accept this call. Call your live on voices.
Yes, the king.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I just want to strengthen what that last caller just talked about the earth,
Mm-hmm.
and by just adding that the earth has all of us DNA in it.
Yes.
So we know that those who have polluted the earth and have destroyed are destroying the earth. Those are the ones who are going to go down first, and they know it. They know it very well. But I'm going to come back to the coronavirus again. They know their time is up. They know nature is against them. So the coronavirus, in my opinion, they're telling us, well, hey, listen, we know our time is up. We're going to take down as much as we can with themselves, with the coronavirus. This is my opinion of the way how I see things.
Okay.
Because again, they're not going to hand over the power, the mantle to us. You know, the reign of power is so sweet, and the greed that comes with it. And it is playing out in our leaders too. So once again, if our leaders want to stay plugged into their narrative, they too will perish. The word of the Most High does not return void.
Void.
Scriptures are being fulfilled. And I'm asking our people to raise their level of thinking to the Fahrenheit that they should be. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Okay, back to what I was alluding to before the news break. Someone sent me an article relative to that opinion I raised. I'm going to read it. Hair relaxers could be harming black women. We're calling on the big brands to stop selling them. Hair relaxers could be harming black women. We're calling on the big brands to stop selling them. An Oxford University report found that women repeatedly using hair relaxers containing lye could be 30% more at risk for breast cancer. It's a chemical you're applying next to your brain to straighten your hair, to give you a certain image. You know, I used to get off on Queen Latifah. She was the most radical on the image of blackness and this and that, and then they made her Miss Maybelline. She's all mascaraed, with the long hair and the eyelashes and the this and that. And so a lot of young, impressionable women around the world who will look to her today, look to Rihanna, look to Beyonce, they believe, unless they look like them, they're not really worthy. Locally, regionally, globally, I see that, and it bothers me, because if you really claim your blackness and love your blackness, you will not do that. You're going away from your naturalness. And of course, I don't get slammed for this. Well, they'll tell me, well, Socrates ain't gonna hear, so. But the fact is, I gave a young lady a lift a couple of days ago, and I'm thinking, those eyelashes are like windows. You know, those kind of drop down windows, some huge eyelashes. I'm thinking, you spend, I know she's not employed, but you're spending money that she could be feeding her kids on this nonsense. The Indians recognize this as a mega billion-dollar industry, selling the hair to black women. And the Brazilians, oh, we want a Brazilian, this and that and that. It is nonsense. And chemically, using this sperm thing in your hair is next to your brain, it causes permanent damage to us, but we don't pay attention to it because we're glamorous. You go to a Queen show, Chris Collins, thanks for joining in. Chris writes, eyelashes like Wingard. Yeah, well, it's called voices, so I'm just saying my opinion. And we don't really need it. We do not really need it. And there are people who are conscious of this. But if you're claiming that you're free from slavery and you're this and that, that is not. That is a plantation legacy where you're told that you're here to grippy, you're this to flat, now you change your eyelash. Mugabe said it best. He's not bashing women, but he says, God made you perfect. If a man could never, because look at God. God gave him this and that, they changed the eyelash. God gave him that, they changed. Oh, ladies, and I refer to you as ladies. There needs to be that need for re-education. Also for men, I spoke to that. I have spoken to that many, many times. We have never had that conversation since we left the plantation. Emancipation, yeah, you're free, but the mental damage still pertains. And when younger, I've seen women who are dressing their kids in the same way. You grow up with that mindset, and you don't know who you are. Let me tell you, you're lost. So claiming African heritage is the one thing. As a matter of fact, Sunday night, those who spend to bleach their skin, both men and women, I've seen it. There's a guy I know. I passed him on 4th Street a couple of times and did not recognize him at all. Man changed up his entire skin tone. So Chris wanted to send me an Afro pic for my Christmas. I saw the picture you sent me of you and Jas Van Dyke on Lloyd Williams' boat. I figure back there you used to drink slim milk. Had to be. You had to be drinking slim milk because comparing that then to you know what I mean? I can see you went from MAGA, we used to call it MAGA, to MEGA. But more power to you, say, my friend. And so, yes, we have to be conscious of that. You was fit. Chris Collins, of course, he's a photojournalist, among many other things, up there in Sheffield. He claims it's the best place in UK to live. Son of the Soil, a contributor. He has a show every Sunday where he plays songs from the Federation and around the region, and we will thank him for that. There was a forum last week, Chris, where the entertainment, Ministry of Entertainment, was speaking about assisting the local talent. They offered a few things that sounds wonderful. And one of the things we have coming would be more TV, more Ministry of Entertainment. It will be, I would say, similar to, remember, MTV. It will be geared mainly for local content. And so the bountiful talent, the abundance of talent we have here will be able to get the content aid internationally, regionally, and internationally. I want to thank them for that because they've had this conversation for some time about assisting the young talent to record. But after you have recorded the material, what happens to it? And this was pre-COVID. What happens to it? I would say about 1 million persons, literally 1 million persons produce a song, some, different genre every day, but how many get aid? And so you have to look at this as a business where you can generate a revenue stream. I think that platform that they're offering in terms of what will be more in TV, and that's with a collaboration with cable TV and the Ministry of Government, that's a wonderful thing, the most wonderful thing, I think, that came out of that program. They're giving assistance to people in the visual arts, those in, they're now called creatives. And that ministry, we've never had one before. You had the Department of Culture, now we have Ministry of Entertainment. Very well attended. And I'm very encouraged with what I've heard. Now, a lot of things is for the young people, I understand that. So people like me now, you know what I mean? I am Methuselah. But it's okay, it's all good because I will still make my contribution up until the day, because my mantra is my music, is my life, is my music. But I think that's a wonderful thing, and it can come too soon. I want to thank the cable for partnering with the government, the Ministry of Entertainment, in offering a platform where all the creatives on Syncits, the soccer artists, the R&B, the rap artists, the creative, the visual arts, all the persons who are involved can get a chance to showcase, because the culture of a people, that gives you identity. Let me ask a question while you're up there. What is our most iconic cultural imagery, if you know? Let me see Claude Bascom. He's up in New York. Chris Collins said he was fit. The marketer's room, consistency is the key. Chris is saying, in response to what I mentioned about the artistry of St. Kitts, how do we get marketed? How do we create a revenue stream? He says the market has room, consistency is the key. Our young artist becomes frustrated. I understand that. Why? Our young artists become frustrated when that breakthrough does not come overnight. You must remind them of your battles. I'm still battling, Chris. I'm still battling. Yes, I am still battling, but that's okay. In the meantime, I am enjoying it. So I look forward for the Afropic people understand. You know what I mean? But Louis is saying, that's why I don't relax minds. Well, good for you. And I see the kids are all locks up. Zava have locks. Cleo have locks. There you go. One must believe in oneself and portray it, and that way you will be able to impress others. I think we're going to pause at this point in time for a word from our sponsors and come off my stump. So, a word from our sponsors. Okay, we in the
sales event for 3 days only. This Thursday, 4th November to Saturday, 6th November. Haul all you can get at 25% off store-wide on all discountable items at Horseman's Building and Nevis Centers on St. Kitts and Nevis. Yes, for 3 days only, this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Haul all with discounts of 25% off store-wide on all discountable items. Haul all the savings. Haul all the discounts. Haul all the quality products. Haul all at 25% off for 3 days only at Horseman's Building and Nevis Center. Don't miss it. Terms and conditions apply. See store for details.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Welcome to all listeners. Welcome to Voices. My name is Socrates, host of this program, and of course you're logged on to Win FM 98.9. I'm in the chair on Wednesday. Let me take a sneeze if I can. Okay, thank you. If FT, I'm presuming this is the Financial Times, if FT can rate our CBI number 1, you know all the benefit goes to the colonizer, foreigner side. A backhanded compliment which implies we are the losers and the moneyed and the whites are the winners. If FT can rate our CBI number 1, and you're free to text me again to correct me if you know all the benefit goes to the colonizer / foreigner side, a backhanded compliment which implies we are the losers and the moneyed whites are the winners. The CBI program, SKN has, I think we're the first who would have initiated that back shortly after we attained independence, was a means to create a revenue stream. I'm not sure to the particulars, but it has grown and morphed into quite an attractive program for a lot of other countries, some large metropolises, Canada example, and it became very competitive in the region. It's been exploited to some extent on various levels, but that has sustained our economy to no end. And sometimes you get what you want, but you lose what you got. To try to recall it. You're getting what you want, but you're losing what you got. It's been challenging, but there are those who believe that during the past 18 months where we had to go under that stress, that economic shock caused by the arrival of COVID-19, that war chest was what helped us to sustain ourselves during that phase. We know other economies in the region who also had that implementation in place also struggled. But once those funds are properly utilized, and we have the issue when it comes to how it's put to us, well, you're selling our passports. We know there were some unsavories who were able to obtain the passport. It gave us international black eye, and there were some PR had to be put in place to get it back on track and respectable. The average guy in the street don't know all the particulars as of this, but the end result is that it generates money. The question is how much of the country you would sell out, because it's viewed as you're selling the birthright of the people. Okay. So there is that. It was a mechanism by which the country was able to generate substantial economic gains, whether the persons were buying or investing in property here, whether they were getting a passport, they would have paid for that. There was a fund created specifically for that, and there were challenges. There were a lot of issues ongoing. But yes, we do have the longest running CBA program in the region, if not the world. And it became controversial many times. We took umbrage that people could come here and quote unquote buy our passports and even challenge us. And at one point when questions were raised about certain investment and the location of where it was made, where the local person had to move from the area, we were told, well, they're citizens. They have their passports. I recall some years ago I was up at the Bird Rock play field. It was an election day, and I saw limousines coming from certain hotels, and people just stepping from the limousines. They would have flown in that morning by jet planes, and they came there and they voted. I'm thinking, really? Having no idea at all who they were. But these are some of the things that you lose when you do certain things. And let me see what my friend here says. LOL, I understand the money tightness. We have to be reasonable given the financial strains the government has been under over the past 2 years. Okay. Hear that. Let me go back to here, relaxer and all that. So even though you're not calling, you're making a contribution. One appreciates that. Yes, I wasn't clear whether it was one ship I saw downtown today or two. Let me give out those numbers again, because the old man losing his voice. As I speak, we have a caller on the line. Caller, you're live on Voices. Welcome to the program.
Good afternoon, Socrates.
Thank you for returning call. How are you doing?
Man, I hear doing fine. I hear listening to all of the comments and whatever.
Beautiful.
Now, sometimes there's a lack of understanding in our people, The one you were reading about the citizenship by investment and the remarks.
Yes.
They are erroneous. If we go to sell, we are the sellers, aren't we?
That is correct.
If you didn't offer it to them, they wouldn't
They
buy
would not
it.
be there. Yes.
You know, and to say that they are the benefactors. Well, maybe they should take a look at the use of the funds. If they have a question, it lies there.
Mm-hmm.
So it becomes our problem. And to suggest that they're white, I wonder if he knows how many Nigerians have them. You know that, right?
I know quite a few because there was one in the news recently and somebody tried to exploit it because of how he obtained his passports.
Long before that, there was another case with one of the prince or something a couple of years back when he was charged, whatever.
Yes.
They have money to buy them.
Mm-hmm.
Is what, and then a lot of the Chinese have them.
Mm-hmm. I made reference to that investment when people question it.
Yeah.
You know, we were told, well.
I mean, you say all of these, what you always call them, what the Prime Minister said he'll be giving them $1,000 and things and so. What do you think is keeping this economy afloat?
That is what I made reference to.
You know, sometimes we got this white and black things stuck up in our head so we can't analyze things properly.
The stimulus.
Mm-hmm. Well, even the wages, because you see, if we do a proper analysis, government revenue down to little or nothing. Yet every month they have to provide wages for the federation.
Yes.
And whatever infrastructure, whether in St. Kitts or Nevis, they contribute towards it. Because some people don't know, years now we have been disqualified from getting low interest loans.
They said we don't qualify as a poor country anymore. Was that effect?
But this since in the 1990s, I remember.
Mm-hmm.
Since maybe as far back as 1990, there was a Japanese grant or something, and when the government applied, they said no, because what they deal with $1 a day.
Mm-hmm.
If the people are earning less than $1 a day,
then
you qualify.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we have the 3,000 something when it comes to the per capita. This is why sometimes people hold the debate. So to suggest we are the ones offering the goods, if we didn't want to sell them, they wouldn't want to buy them. And they not only buy, they contribute. SID are contributions, you know.
I know.
Do we have that?
Yes, I know that.
Some people don't know. They make a contribution, and then they are liable or they're free to apply. They may got some generous souls out there who may want to give and may not want a passport. But generally, they want a passport. It's usually an ego matter, you know. It's usually
access,
an ego. An ego. I have 4 passports I got when they meet with their friends in the clubs. No, it's true. Just like they go out and buy an old chair to say, well, I have the oldest
antique.
chair.
Uh-huh.
You know, and while I may not agree with selling the citizenship, it has now become our main source of income. It has become. You would hear my good friend McMahon talking about how they leave the 9.9, the 99 something $million,
Mm-hmm.
and all that went on when they had the financial recession. You know, is the misuse of the funds.
Misuse of it, yes.
Yeah, that I think is the biggest problem, more than the white and the yellow and the green and the blue. That is where we should be focusing our attention. What are we doing with it? I mean, the IMF has recommended a long time ago that they have a sovereign fund. That means for every time you collect,
you put something
set aside some
in the kitty.
In the kitty for the country's development down the road.
Mm-hmm.
But often we find ourselves in a situation, we get it, we spend it.
We squander.
It's like they say, if people are not accustomed to save, if they're working for 100, they're not going to save. If they're working for 1,000, none. If they go to 1 million, it's none.
Habits.
You know, so I think we have to unscrew our head from this thing. Many Africans Chinese, Asians,
All
Americans,
nationalities.
all over the world.
I want
So
to
that is what I want to talk about.
Okay.
Now, something else I was to talk about.
the environmental levy. I want to hear you on that.
Which one?
The $5,000 that was being collected as an environmental levy.
Oh, well, all of that went into the consolidated fund.
Okay.
Now, some of them were designed to go to the solid waste, you know. You know that?
I would think so.
It
I would
was
think
said
so.
That was the gift. That was the same. Well, they have them when they bring them in, old, and they get bad. They abandon them all across the cane range.
And yes.
And they have to be taken to this landfill.
Yes.
But I don't have to recall when they saw all the breakdown of the trucks and so.
They could maintain
And
them.
Mr. Bridgewater would complain, look, we have no money.
Correct.
And people would say, what happened to the money that should have come to the
They
port?
didn't get it?
They didn't get it. You know? So, because a lot of things, you remember the social service levy too?
Yes.
Was designed to do housing and all of that. And
Park benches, etc.
None reach.
And to build houses.
Start to carry from 1% to 3%. It still does not reach where it's supposed to go. Because every time that NHC want to build houses, they have to go down to Social Security and borrow. When if the money was going where it's supposed to go,
they wouldn't have to. They wouldn't have to.
They wouldn't have to,
And then,
because it was designed to be a revolving fund.
And having built the house, they charge the recipient 3 times the amount.
I mean, sometimes, they're building houses. You're going to build a house, right?
No.
Give somebody working on the industrial site.
Mm-hmm.
8 something a month.
Yes.
When you do the maths, it's half of the people's salary. So
I know a friend who refused one. You know those up there by Pamela Quarters?
Uh-huh.
A friend of mine refused one. Say, no, I can't afford that.
No. So sometimes you hear them boasting, we built 5,000 houses. Why do you think the people are delinquent? I have known that people pay their mortgage and beg food.
Oh.
Have to beg to eat. But it is the use and the misuse.
The misuse.
You see, if the funds were allowed, I think maybe later on, I'm not sure they allowed it to go later. But if the funds were to be used as directed by the law, because the law just state what they're going to use it for, we would have less things, the use and the misuse. But once the money gets into the consolidated fund, it gets mixed up with what is to pay for book, what is to pay for this, and what is to pay for that.
Understood.
And then, of course, the aim is to create surpluses and so. When the truth is that all the surplus don't belong to the government, the central government. Some belong to statutory bodies.
The image that's been put up that we have surplus after surplus after surplus, and there's some things I recall, well, I won't speak to because I don't know the fact, but there was a certain ministry that posted a job for a person. They were waiting, and they were told, well, the applications is on the FinSec desk. There's no money to pay for it. But then you hear we have surplus.
But you do have surplus, only that, none in that, going in that direction.
Okay.
And sometimes, too, you see, people do not know. When they're doing estimates, they had estimates last month, eh?
Projections.
No. What happened, each ministry, each department prepare their estimate. How much they expect to spend.
Yes.
Now, some persons are more influential. The closer you are to the kitty. No, it's true. The Ministry of Finance.
That sounds like a song was.
That
sounds like a song was Henry.
No, the Ministry of Finance. They get whatever they put down because they're in the adjudicator. But
the closer you are to the kitty.
Other ministries put down, right? We need so much for paper, so much for machines, so much for this, so much for that.
Appropriations, yeah.
And when it go to the committee, they say, boy, no, you can't have this and you can't have that. So what are you going to do? You can't boycott because you don't own the purse. You get too much trouble, they might mark out some more of, of what you want. So to me, sometimes there's not a free and a fear. They may say so, eh? But it cannot be free and free some ministries always have trouble finding money.
Yeah, and it's
But
desperate
sometimes it is
because...
the person who does it.
Mm-hmm.
The person who prepared the estimates.
Yep.
If they had a long time view, they don't say, if they're going to give you 1,000, you ask for 5.
And bargain down.
Yeah, man, you're bargaining on to 2005.
Mm-hmm.
It's negotiating skills. A lot of people lack, They lack negotiating skills and they lack foresight.
Well, you know the
Because
thing work.
if you're going to see that, look, we're going to need 2 more workers. But if you pick up the estimate and you see the post is there and 0 by it, you can't hire anybody.
Yeah.
All right, then.
Thank you very much for your contribution. Always appreciated. Some time ago, I had occasion to ask Sister Henry about some abuse she would get on something with this station. So how do you just deal with that disrespect? We're told to respect our elders. You may not agree with them, but you have to show that respect. And she says to me, don't take them away. They try to shut me up. They don't want me to talk. But I ignore them, and I address them as my brother, my this, my that, and I had to learn from that. I was humbled by her response, and my respect for her grew even more. So, at the symposium last week at the Royal St. Christopher, the Marriott, people were making the contributions, and I was asked at the end of it, well, fellow said, Socrates, how come you said nothing? I said, well, everybody was saying what they had to say, makes sense. You don't have to run up to the mic. One of the things I've been really, they want to tackle. We are celebrating our 50th National Carnival, anniversary of our 50th National Carnival. It was nationalized in 1971. And we had a couple of years where we didn't have carnivals. I think it was 1993, 83, there was little issues, political issues, and so we didn't. But we are observing the 50th anniversary of a national carnival. And I was in a forum prior to that. And I'm saying, yeah, but you can't even give me a stadium. We're still going to Warner Park. So as Ms. Henry spoke about appropriations and what is budget deficit and that, you cannot give me a national stadium. The question was raised by some of the creatives. Why can't we get a performing arts center? And the head table says, we're working on it. As a matter of fact, we discussed it, etc., etc. But I can say this. I was privy to the schematics of a stadium for Warner Park, Carnival City. There was a room for the Calypsonia Association, room for this, room for that, all planned out. I saw that, and I was very, very much encouraged. Because we know over the many, many years, the shows, whatever they are, you go to, and if it start to rain, you see 100 umbrella come out. I'm saying if we're celebrating the 50th anniversary of Carnival, we should at least have been having those shows in a stadium. Lord, man. So we're talking about it again. Fine. I recall when Gus Williams was then the Carnival chair, he promised next year this time we will have a brand new stadium here to have the shows in. Well, he made that promise, I guess, from his heart, well intended, but our dear friend Gus Williams is long departed. And later on, I said, Winggrove Williams and I were privy to the plans. We will show the plans for a stadium, this and that and that. Very much encouraged. Government changed. Plan went away. So I didn't want to put a damper on all the plans and all the enthusiasm. This new Ministry of Entertainment, they're approaching, they're doing a wonderful job. I mean, so far, they've come out to the public and committed some very tangible, things. So I'm going to give them a chance, but I'm saying that for the 50th anniversary of Carnival, we're celebrating. We should have been doing so in I want to say brand new Carnival Village, but in a building or a facility created for the entertainers. We hear so much talk about the entertainers, this and that, but for the dancers and all the various persons, and they spoke about having to rent spaces. The question is, how serious is the government when it comes to supporting the culture of young people, etc., who would have traveled and spent money to learn, to study, to dance, to this, to that, and come back, and then they're in their jobs, and they have to rent. And then the entertainers are paid next to nothing because of the production of the show. People don't support, they don't have an understanding of how much people from their heart would put into dance, creating costumes, doing a visual art paint work. It takes time, it takes effort, it takes love, etc. And the underappreciation. So imagine you have a show coming up. Let me take this call from the public. Good day, caller. You're live on Voices. Good day, caller. Lost the caller. Okay. Show coming up. Are they there? Okay, caller, please feel free to try to get back on the line. We have a few minutes. Yeah, we got about 20 minutes before.
Yes, it's me again.
It's
since
you
they're
again.
not coming.
Okay, talk to me.
No, yes, now, you see what you're talking about? Remember, we were talking about the citizenship by investment money?
Yes.
Now, if you have these programs, which you know cost money, it's simple. You collect whatever you do, and you state a percentage would go to health, right? 10% to health, maybe 10% to education.
The various departments.
Yes, I mean, we're talking about those that have require significant infrastructure. And you direct it to the relevant thing, so that when you know you need a performing arts center, because you hear the story all the time, how much money we brought in and all of that, and you ask, well, what do we have on the ground? We have investment in foreign direct investment projects, but not in our own, you know. People boast. You know, we got to get serious. We got to get serious so that when they well dry up, we have something tangible to show.
Yes.
That is what we need to do. Set money aside for them. Because believe me, if today or tomorrow you throw all in people's lap,
Use it.
they're going down the supermarket.
They're going to use it.
Amazon, end up with nothing. So we have got to have real national goals. It's not enough to promise or to have a plan to divert people's attention. We must have solid, and to me, the citizenship by investment programs offers the best alternative. The best, because it doesn't depend on your taxation level.
Right.
So this is what they need to do. So sometimes when we agitating and we singing, we need to come with it. Tell them, say, look, we know the schools are going to cost so much to maintain, so much to modernize. 10%, 10% out of the millions they do could do something. Look at Nevis. You know, Nevis have a performing arts.
They have two.
I'm telling you, I mean, they borrow the money, which is unfortunate, you know, but you didn't have to borrow because you were the lender. You were the lender, and you know, Carnival Village, everybody.
It bothers me. I think it's lack of disrespect.
You know, and we made some
lack of respect,
changes.
yeah.
You made changes where the rain could wet down people and they could get electrocuted performing in the rain like that.
That bothers me.
Sometimes the performing arts and they say, well, look, this year we ain't going to do nothing until we get something. No, they will say, you're aggressive like me saying we.
Yeah,
but
but there's no togetherness. There's no togetherness.
Look, some people just ignore them, you understand? You know, in life, if you're going to wait for everybody to fight, there will be no fighting.
That is
the Bible
true.
with Gideon, you know.
That is true.
10,000 come out And God know the heart. God said, look, hello, you see them there? Too much of them there.
Short story. When you finish, I'll give you a short story.
7,000 walk away, you know. And he said, some of them they well want to go. He said, look, get them down by the river. Tell them drink some water. And look and see how they drink. When you look, 300 was left out of the 10,000.
Mm-hmm.
So you see how many people you got to ignore?
Correct.
If you know you want something, you need something, you stand up for it. They will eventually get tired of you. They will get tired of you asking, tired of you saying.
Sometimes you get discouraged, eh?
Well, you see, I tell you, I need the Bible and I need God.
Sister Henry, I've been discouraged so many times.
There's so much example in the Bible.
Let me get a short story. About 10 days ago, the Carnival subcommittee met with the Calypsonians. Mm-hmm. And they announced that the prize this year is $20,000. Mm-hmm. Glenroy Blanchett protested. He said, how come you decide that? He said, it should be $50,000, this and that. Now, I have had the same conversation prior to that. Okay? So in the meeting, I said nothing. And he was making his pitch to the head table. And he said, well, Socrates is your arguing for.
Is you what?
He's advocating on my behalf for, the crown.
Too?
Huh?
He does sing too.
No, he was being facetious. He said, okay, well, we should get at least $50,000. And he was getting no support from the assembled. I said nothing. Because I said to them, Antigua is paying $30,000. For 50th anniversary, you should pay at least, right? But I had that discussion with the chair, and she told me what she told me. I decided to leave it there. All the others in the room was quiet, and he said, well, Socrates argued on your behalf. He said, well, you're the king and blah, blah, blah. I just laughed. I said, I have nothing to say. I spent money for about 3 years. Huh?
All right.
On a document trying to form an association for the Calypsonians. And I'm saying, if you have an association, nobody can say, well, we'll pay you that. They have to negotiate.
No. I tell you, negotiation, that beats
so
a lot of us.
So I leave it alone. You know what I mean?
You know, and the unwillingness of people to support.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we are.
Discouraging. I know that.
Waiting to see how things work out.
Years ago.
Waiting to see how somebody. So if you get killed, they help bury you.
Right. Jesus
said you kill the prophets and your father make the monument.
Years ago, I was told by Junior Liber that I need to retire, let young people take over. So.
No, you should ask them, how much older are you than I am?
But then look at this now. You don't tell the get artists to retire. You don't tell the other genres, the pop artists, that they need to retire. But Calypsonians must retire. So could need to retire.
You know, Sissy Wynand.
There you go.
Won the Gospel Singer of the Year.
Yeah. She won it? Wow.
Yeah, sometime last week, I think it was. Now imagine all the young singers I make, she never sit down she old self.
Mm-hmm.
But her song was the best. She still has the tone and the harmony and everything.
Beautiful.
Just sometimes, my mom said, make a sit down. I'm going to sit down to sit down. I didn't come in the world to sit down.
You see you? I am so much in love with what you're doing. I love hearing from you. You have a contribution. I mean, Elder Clark is a person I also love to listen to, but there's some rancor there that's not necessary.
Right.
You each have a contribution to make. You don't have to agree, but the respect. We need to respect our elders. We're happy they're there to make the contribution. I love hearing from you. I love hearing from Elder Clark and the others. But the rancor.
And you refuse to be quiet?
Of course.
I mean, they throw dirt, they throw things, nothing stick, then they go for the glue, and that won't stick. They go.
I had that conversation with you.
The Bible says, be strong and courageous.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the Bible tells you. Be strong and very courageous.
You are an institution that we need to hear from, and I'm so happy.
Well, unfortunately for me, I pay my own phone bill.
Okay, so they can't tell you what to say.
Mr. Darling, nobody need to pay nothing for me.
Mm-hmm.
God has been good to me, me and know what we do, as the song says.
You're an educator.
By birth.
You're an educator.
That's my calling.
And if you need to fact check you, we fact check you, but at least the dialogue is there. You make a contribution.
Yeah. And I'd fact check myself. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I am wrong, I'm wrong.
All
Like
right.
when my good friend Johnny talk, I go and look for the videos them on YouTube
Are you fact check him?
and listen to him. He does bring half of the story.
Johnny.
Provoking him, eh?
Yes, yes, yes,
Yes,
yes, yes.
I'm sorry he missed. Yes, I want him to contact because yesterday my good Rasta brethren were talking about all those who out there trying to discredit the Bible and things. I say, me, my friend. Because a lot
Interesting.
of people refuse to accept that Haile Selassie was a Christian. He was, in fact, the head of the Ethiopian Orthodox Church.
Yeah.
You know? In fact, he and Marcus Garvey they fell out over that matter because Marcus Garvey said that if Haile Selassie would spend less time reading the Bible and praying, he wouldn't be in England hiding out.
At the time when Mussolini attacked.
Yeah, and he said he talked about the underdevelopment of Ethiopia. He said, you expect to fight a war with stick and saw? He said he should have armed the people. They would have, because they have the spirit to fight, eh?
But they were never conquered.
They don't have the equipment,
The equipment, but they were not conquered.
you know. The English also helped them, eh? They just overskip that one. So
You
anyway,
mean against the Italians, Mussolini?
yeah, he came back and the English and another thing help him to fight.
Okay.
You know, so but it was good. I must commend the brethren because they were reading some articles and so. Some of it ain't the nicest, but at least, you know, you hear what he did to modernize the country, and you talk about the division. He had to put things against, you know, kind of the kings. They're trying right now. This one want their own country. Mind they're in a country already, you know.
Yeah.
It's right there, journey. You got to get it. Africa
Some
thing straight.
80-something languages speaking in Ethiopia?
Yeah, they have 18 tribes, and everybody want to break away rule themselves. How can you develop a country? So when my good friend say, "Oh, Africa need to wake up and see, united we stand."
The division
Every
is
time
it's been
you heard about
exploited.
They overthrew this one the other day in Sudan.
Yes, yeah.
Is it North Sudan or South Sudan?
South.
You see what I mean? They take over. They love
Military
to
guy.
overthrow people government.
Yeah.
You know, so we got to work on this thing, this Africa thing. I love Africa, you know, but then and oh, by the way, he said every time they go down to Egypt, there is a verse in the Bible where I think it was Jeremiah warned him. He said, "Woe to those who go down to Egypt. When the Lord says, stay in the country, stay. They're going down there to fight."
Okay.
So, you know, we need to get this thing straight.
Can I get you inside on the hard comb before you leave?
Oh, well, I must confess when I was growing up, I used to have to come here.
Yeah.
But, yeah, everybody used to iron their hair. I make you go say, "Oh, I used to iron my son here when she was young."
I know. I grew up with that.
Yeah, so I started, I've never straightened my hair. My hair always natural.
Okay.
So, in fact, not only was it natural, you know, I used to cut my hair.
Yes.
So my
It was
children,
very Africanesque.
Oh, yes.
Very
you know,
Africanesque.
in the 60s when the Black Power thing started, well, in America, with Martin Luther King, also my brother in St. Thomas used to bring up the Jet. You remember the Jet magazine?
Jet magazine. Jet and Ebony.
Jet and Ebony, but Jet was first. And I would read them, and you see all of these. I remember Miriam Makeba when she had her hair in cornrow.
Yep.
You know? And I took on the blackness thing because I believe in blackness, not the hatred of other people.
Long before Johnny?
Johnny, I'm sure it could be Johnny, mother. But I'm glad he's conscious. But the
I
only
am
thing
happy
his
with that.
consciousness is that his consciousness got us and them. Us and them.
Well,
Every black man is not your brother. Every white man is not your enemy. So I started thinking my hair, because my hair is light, right? And for over 30 years, my head,
you had a hard
I
comb.
would tell my children, you know, and see my wedding picture, my head on my eye. They can't believe I had long hair. And I totally refused to straighten my hair. In fact, it went as far as this. I was in a church, and they had this mass choir, and I love to sing, so I wanted to go in. And tell me, well, if you want to join the choir, you must straighten yourself. But I'm not going in. I am not going in.
Oh, yes, the look. You have to have the look.
On one occasion, my hair has been an issue. Man head, miss head. He said me man head. But
Amazing.
I was proud, and I would wear African prints and whatnot.
I recall you for that. You're known for that.
Yes, because, and I buy Black Valley for my children. We always had books on black and,
That's a consciousness.
Yes, because I wanted my children to grow proud of themselves. I was proud of myself no matter where I was. When I travel, I'm proud of my blackness. But some of us carry it like a load.
I recall you the shaky top.
That is a load on the back. You are who you are, and God made the other people who they are too. So. But since I retired, I started allowing it to go back, so I can now comb it into and all of that.
All right.
But it's good to be, and I love to see you in your African outfit too.
Thank you very much.
You look like one of the African twins.
I am African.
The only thing with some of them is something else.
I am African.
Ship us. I got to work the bread with.
I want to thank you so very much.
Yes, and to everybody, have a good afternoon.
Yes, for this conversation.
Read your Bible and pray and stop stress up yourself. Stop running and complain to everybody. Tell it to Jesus.
Tell it to Jesus. Cut out the middleman. Go straight to the source.
Straight to the source. Not even Mary. Tell the man. All right then.
Thank you, Sister Henry, for your contribution. This conversation has been very, very, very informative. And it takes us back to a time when we, had to have that mindset change of the hot comb and changing and understanding. So they need to re-educate yourself. It's not too late. We need to know who we are, identify with who we are, and not try too hard to identify with other persons. So, in wrapping up, it's about that time. I want to thank all the callers, those who tried to get in and didn't, those who made the contribution, all the folks who listened. I hope that this was a learning. You were able to learn something from it. I mean, there was a bit of humor, different thing, but we discussed. It's called Voices. We have a bit of social discourse about things happening. For those without who are wondering, yes, the cruise industry is gearing up. They're starting. We have a large shipping port today we're going to have throughout the week, and so our drivers, our economy is getting that little boost, that little impetus, that little injection that we've been looking for. I understand Johnny is advocating we shouldn't depend solely or primarily even tourism from the European or the US market, but try to get more Africans involved. All that is good thinking, positive thinking. And so hopefully I'm here again on Monday and we can continue the discourse. If you want to introduce a topic, I may have a guest on Monday. If not, but please always know that you can call into Voices and add to the national debates. I want to thank the folks farther field who were in tune. Rosemary Donald up there in Staten Island. Brenda, we have Chris in the UK, and all the other folks out there. Thank you for joining Voices, and may God bless. Continue to keep you safe. Remember, the COVID is still around, so do what you have to make sure that you and yours are safe. I'm out of here.
It's happening again. By popular demand, we're doing it again. Yep, we're doing it again. Horseman's Furniture and Appliances is once again giving away double cash back for free groceries for the months of September to December. Every customer at the Horseman's Furniture and Appliances showroom in St. Kitts and in Nevis gets double cash back coupons for absolutely free groceries. But it doesn't stop there. Every higher purchase customer will also get a chance to win. Yep, get double cash back for free groceries and a chance to win